Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai is the Son of the living power, the Messiah, which these are the true names of the Most High God, and His only begotten Son in the ancient Hebrew tongue, and Lashon Kodash, which means holy language. Also want to give double honors to the elder apostles at Great Millstone, and also to the upcoming elders, to the elder bishops that rule well, that teach well, that break down the scriptures correctly, at GMS, and peace and blessings unto the elect, and salute and shalom to the fellow laborers pushing His truth, right, and to the 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation, right, and Lord willing, this lesson's edifying, which the title of this lesson is going to be, which will ultimately be the focus. The title of this lesson is going to be, "The righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide," right? And that's the focus of this lesson, which I got that saying from the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 18, where it says, "Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for wide, for they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide." Which, when you go into that word straight things, the word straight, in fact, let's go into the etymology dictionary. It means narrow, right? Confined space or place, which is ultimately symbolic for what? Difficulty or plight, right? Difficult, thing, if you will. Yeah. So, which that's what's coming. Jacob's troubles, the great tribulation. In fact, when you go into the Bible, it don't only mention salvation. It don't only mention good things, if you will, which entirely the Bible is good news unto us, but it also mentions, a time of evil, a time of lamentation, a time of woe. In fact, let's get this scripture real quick in the book of Ezekiel real quick. So before that good could come, before that salvation could come, the problem must come before, the evils must come before, right? The time of trouble must come before in order for us to get salvation. And this time of evil is going to affect all man on this earth, all nations on this earth, even us, even Israel, right? But the elect of Israel shall be saved out of it. But the elect will also suffer as well, will also have to go through this difficult time, right? Because ultimately, Lord will, I'm of the elect, right? But the elect, it's not of this world, but they're in the world, so the Lord sending the evils upon this place, the elect is going to be, in that atmosphere, in that environment, if you will, as well. But the thing is, they're not going to be affected as the wicked is going to be affected, because ultimately, in Yahweh Shai, in His truth, this knowledge that we have, it's a defense, it's a shield unto us. We have a buckler, if you will, we have a protector, which is ultimately Yahweh Shai. And the Lord will ultimately bring us through this fire, through this difficult time, and we're gonna have, ultimately we gonna retain, if you will, our life. We're gonna retain our physical life, because it's prophesied that some of the believers, some of the elect will not taste the death. But you also will have martyrs, believers who will be faithful to death, meaning who's willing to die for the faith, and nevertheless, those martyrs, they still have their life. And when I say life, I'm talking about immortality life, man. Right? So we gonna go through this fire, still retaining, and maintaining our life. whether it's our physical life, because some of the elect will not die at all, you know, or our immortality, you know. And, you know, these are the things that we're going to have to suffer, you know. But we still going to retain that life. We still have that security, if you will, of life in Yahweh Shai, you know. Because, you know, let's get this real quick. Ezekiel. Salaki. Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 9. It says, and when I looked, and behold, an hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein, and he spread it before me, and it was written within and without. And that book is concerning this word, the word of the Most High. It says, and there was written therein lamentations and mourning and woe. And that's what's coming to this planet Earth. Lamentations, mournings, and woes. Right? Times of evil and dangers, if you will. Right? But this is what Yahweh Shai said. You know, in the book of Luke, chapter 21. Luke chapter 21, verse 19, it says, in your patience possess ye your souls. Right? So even throughout this evils, even the times that we're going through now, which is ultimately a hard time because we in captivity, right? That's part of the straight way that we're going into. You know, we're in captivity, right? The Lord cast us off. You know, we are in the hands of our enemies, right? We have no inheritance, right? We have no sovereignty, no power in our hand. You know, so we going through things now, right? But you know, also the time coming, the evils to come, right? The prophecies concerning the plagues and perils, the dangers to come, World War III, you know, martial law, famine, etc. You know, even through all that, you know, the hour of temptation, which is going to tie into the MOTB, you know, Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 on down to verse 18. Through all that, you know, the elect will have to endure it, man, and still maintain the faith, you know, and in maintaining the faith, right? You know, continuing in the word, right? Continuing in the faith, they're gonna win immortality. They're gonna win life, you know. And like I said again, some of the elect will not taste of death, right? And you know, let me say this, you know, before I continue on. You know, the only, you know, in Jacob's troubles, great tribulation, through those evils, the elect, I mean, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, I meant to say Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is not going to have his saints die by starvation. You know, that's not going to happen. That's not prophetic. The Lord's not going to have his elect die due to starvation, die due to war, you know, die due to the sword, by the gun. You know, the Lord not going to have his elect go out the way that the wicked go out, because that's the way the wicked is going to go out. The only way, you know, through those evils, the only way the elect, some of the elect may die is through persecution, and that's an honorable thing in the sight of Yahweh Shai, you know, to be faithful unto death. So that's the only way some of the elect may die, right? But the rest, you know, they ain't never gonna taste the death, you know. So, you know, we still gonna go through these sufferings, but we ain't gonna suffer how the wicked gonna suffer, man. You know, and if we were to die due to persecution, we still have immortality, man. So nevertheless, we won, if you will. We overcame the world, you know. You know, so, you know, and that's really the focus of this lesson. You know, let's jump straight into it. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great. Matter of fact, let's get verse just to get the context of what's about to happen, man. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 5. It says, for thus saith the Lord. Salaki for the noise. It says, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear and not of peace. So Jeremiah, he's basically, right, the Lord basically, no, Jeremiah is basically being showed a time of evil, a time of trembling, of fear, and not of peace, wars, battles, which when you go into second Esdras, it's war on every side, man. War amongst the nations, World War III, war in a homeland, if you will, in America, citizen against citizen, people killing each other for food, which you could read second Esdras chapter 15, chapter 16. That gives you an idea of what Jeremiah is seeing, people, half the people dying due to starvation, half the people dying because of war, or due to the sword, So it's gonna be a time of mass death and destruction, It says, verse 6, it says, ask ye now, and see whether a man do travail with child. Salakia for the Salak, let me do this real quick. Right, so let's continue on. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man do travail with child. So, men, are gonna be without strength in these last days, all face is gonna be, turned into paleness. So this is a time where men won't have any understanding, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go. A time of evil, man. It says, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail. So you're gonna have men being hopeless, and helpless, and without strength like the woman, man, because that's the type of environment, the type of atmosphere that's coming, man. It says, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great. That's the point. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it, It is even a time of Jacob's troubles, but he shall be saved out of it. So this time is known as the time of Jacob's troubles, man. It says, but he shall be saved out of it. Now, who is that he? It's concerning, who's Jacob? Jacob is the so-called, Jacob's referring to Israel. Who are the Israelites according to biblical prophecy? In fact, hold that real quick. Probably should start bringing this out. I made this for a reason, right? So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna read it. Who is Jacob? Who are the true Hebrew Israelites according to biblical prophecy, according to the scriptures? Who are the 12 tribes of Israel? So I have a list of who's referring to, I have a list of the 12 tribes of Israel, who they are today, or who they're called today, or what they're called today, right? The head tribe, Judah, which is one of the tribes of Israel. I'm gonna list it off. Judah today will be the the African Americans. But I will also add on this. You also have Jews, which Judah. All the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which are the 3 tribes, the southern kingdom, they will be known as the Jews, according to the scriptures. Now, Jews, the true Jews, according to biblical prophecy, according to scriptures, were dark-skinned people, man. Brown-skinned, dark-skinned people, not white, not pale, dark-skinned people, man. Now, you have these 3 tribes, throughout, the earth. There's, because through the years, Israel have been scattered amongst the nations. right? And you also have Judah, not only in America. You know, when you go into Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, it's a prophecy concerning how, you know, the Israelites will be enslaved and brought to a foreign land upon slave ships, brought to Egypt upon slave ships. Now, modern day Egypt, according to the Bible, is America. You know, so read Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, and you'll learn about the transatlantic slave trade. That's a prophecy concerning that, you know. Now, I do say this, there's a lot of Judites in Africa still. You know, there's a lot of Judites in Europe, you know, so Israel is scattered amongst the nations, but this is one of the ways we are able to discern who is who through this 12 sign chart, if you will. And this is my my own handmade 12 sign chart. You know, it's not, you know, perfect, right? But let's, you know, list it off. Judah will be the so-called African Americans, right? The Negro man. It says Benjamin will be the West Indians, right? Jamaicans, you know, right? The Negro man. It says Levites, the tribe of Levi will be the Haitians, right? The Negro man, the so-called Negro man. Ephraim, the tribe of Ephraim will be the Puerto Ricans. The tribe of Manasseh will be the Cubans. The tribe of Simeon will be the Dominicans. The tribe of Zebulon will be the Guatemala to Panama people, you know, right, which were former known as, you know, the Mayans, if you will. The tribe of Gad will be the Native Indians, right? The tribe of Reuben will be the Seminole Indians. The tribe of Asher will be Colombia to Uruguay people, the Incas, if you will. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that word right. The tribe of Issachar will be the Mexicans. They were formerly known as the Aztecs, if you will. The Argentinians, you know, or Chile people, if you will. I mean, the tribe of Nefertali will be the Argentinians, right, or the Chile people, you know. And that will be the 12 sign. That will be the 12 tribes today, you know. Which today we're not known as Israel because we lost our identity, right? We were cut off from our heritage because of our wickedness, according to biblical prophecy. The Lord had us basically forget who we were as a people. Now today we're known as African Americans, we're known as Africans, we're known as Haitians, Jamaicans, Mexicans, you know, all these different names, which according to the Bible, we will be the 12 tribes of Israel, you know. So that's Jacob according to the Bible. And this time of trouble is really for Jacob, it's really surrounding Israel, right? Because ultimately the Lord not dealing with all the other nations, the Lord dealing with Jacob, right? And the Lord have a controversy against you Jacobs, man, against you Israelites, because you continue rejecting the way of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. You continue rejecting the way of righteousness. You continue worshiping other gods. So the Lord will bring this time of evil upon you. Now, let's read this again. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. It says, "Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's troubles, but he shall be saved out of it." So that he that is referring to a remnant, a portion, a small portion of that whole of Israel. A small portion will be saved, if you will, right? A remnant of Israel will be saved. Now, when you go into that word remnant, it means what? A remainder, you know. So it's prophesied that there will be few. Well, compared to, you know, the whole, it will be few people to be saved in these last days. Now, don't get, you know, scared or worried, you know, by the word few. You know, few, you know, compared to the whole of Israel is really, you know, few, right? But few, according to the scriptures, the remnant that's going to be saved is likened unto an innumerable number, an innumerable number. So it's a lot of Israelites that's going to be saved in these last days, but few, they're really, few compared to the world, compared to the whole, if you will, of the people, compared to the majority, if you will. So only a remnant, a small portion of people is going to be saved, so the elect will have to go through this time as well, right? We may be kept from these evils, right? We may be kept from damnation, from the lake of fire. We may be kept from death, right? But we still have to go through this environment, this type of atmosphere. We still want to have to go through what we go through, So, let's jump straight into it. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 14, verse 22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples, right? And exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So through much tribulation, we're going to enter into the kingdom of the Heavenly Father, man. And when you go into that word tribulation, it means what? Right, let's get the Greek.
Strong's G 2347. Thlipsis.
Thlipsis, which means oppressing together, oppression. And the thing about this word, this is what Yahushua went through, right? The Messiah, he went through his tribulation, right? His temptation. In fact, when you go into the time right before he got persecuted, he was praying on the Mount of Gethsemane. Lord, when I'm pronouncing it right, that word Gethsemane means what? Oil press. I'm loosely paraphrasing. So Yahushua, he went through his pressuring time, right? Persecution, death upon the cross. Having his own people forsake him and persecute him. Going through his afflictions, his oppression, his distress, if you will. So, just like with Yahushua, we gonna have to go through it as well. Cause it's not he it's not we following his steps, man. The scripture speaks about picking up your cross, and we gonna have to go through our cross, if you will. And a part of that is the hour of temptation, the great tribulation, Jacob's troubles, man. Which will not be an easy time. Now, of course, through those times, we will be maintained, we will be taken care of by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But it will also be a time of evil. And for some, I always mention this, this should never be out of the conversation. I always mention this. There will be persecution, man. And that's some of the lot of some of you brothers, man. Some of you believers. You will have to be persecuted. And the Lord have arranged that for some of you brothers, man. Right? But that's your lot. But at the end of the day, you will be resurrected and you will have immortality. You still got immortality. So we still, have a solution through those evils, if you will. Let me keep that right here. So through much tribulation, we will enter into the kingdom. Now when you go, it's a metaphor. That Greek word is a metaphor for oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, straits. And that's really what's coming, man. Because see, what Esau is preparing to do, he's preparing to bring about a new world order, man. Which is not a order of under God, but it's an order under him. And he's planning to chip everybody with an implantable device, which will ultimately be used as, or will be ultimately be an object for that new digital currency that's coming. And upon that chip implant will ultimately hold all types of information, man. And with it, you will be able to buy and sell. But without it, he's gonna Esau, the so-called white man, he's gonna make it so that all who don't have this chip in them, in their hand or in their foreheads, they They not going to be able to basically, operate in this world as you would now with the credit card, with cash, won't be able to sustain yourself like you would now. Right? He's gonna make it oppressive, man, to the point where you can't go into these supermarkets without it, man. You won't be able to buy without it, If you want medicine, you won't be able to buy without, this chip implant, which is that MOTB, that mark of the who, mentioned in the book of Revelation chapter 13, and that's what Esau want. That's the environment, atmosphere that he's going to bring, man, to the point where he's ultimately going to become more severe with it, which is going to be to the point where he's going to put people to death. He's going to put some of the believers to death for not receiving it, So that's, that's ties into the hour of temptation as well. Martial law, So us being in this world, even though we're not of this world, we're of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Right? We're citizens of the kingdom of God. Right? But we're still in this world physically. So we're going to have to, through the grace of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, we're going to have to successfully, if you will, go through this difficulty, and successfully we're going to overcome in the end, Lord willing, I'm of that number, that's our hope, right? We're the hopeful elect, so through much tribulation we're going to enter into the kingdom, man. That's part of it, In fact, what did Yahweh Shai say to the two apostles, to the two disciples? Let's get it real quick. In the book of Mark, this book of Mark chapter. Let's get Matthew. Chapter 20, verse 20. It says, then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. So the two disciples, it says, and he said unto her, what wilt thou? She said unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom. So basically the mother of the two disciples asking, can my son sit with you in the kingdom, in paradise, which that's not the point. This is the point right here, verse 22. It says, but Yahweh Shai answered and said, yea, know not what ye ask. So Yahweh Shai is basically explaining to her and to the two sons that, you don't even know what you're asking for, because, it's not an easy thing. First of all, that's up to the Lord. It's up to Yahweh whether the two disciples make it or not, or get into the kingdom or not, or is able to sit with Yahweh Shai in the kingdom or not. It's up to Yahweh, right? But no, this is the point. Verse 22, it says, are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? Now, when you go into that word cup, just to get an understanding of what he's basically explaining, what he's talking about, when you go into that word cup, it's basically a metaphor for one's lot or experiences, whether joyous or adverse, right? Divine appointments, whether favorable or unfavorable, are likened to a cup which God presents one to drink, so of prosperity and adversity. So basically Yahweh Shai is saying, are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of? Meaning what? Are you able to basically drink that difficult drink, if you will? Are you able to go through these things that I went through? And we, those of us who's in the know, we know what Yahweh Shai went through. We know, the adversity, the oppression, the difficulties that he went through. It tell you in the book of Isaiah chapter 53, he was a man, I may be loosely paraphrasing, but it basically implies that Yahweh Shai was a man accompanied by grief and sorrow. Why? Because all the things he went through, right? He got beat, whipped, and he got whipped to the point where his rib cage, shoe, not shoe, I meant to say showed through basically it was to the, he got beaten to the point where his rib cage showed, man, through his skin. You could see his rib cage through his skin. That's how bad he got beaten, man. But and I'm not saying this is what we go through exactly what he went through, but we're going to go through our separate difficulties, our separate persecution, our separate adversities in this thing, and that's what the apostles went through, the disciples went through in their ages, their generations on this earth, and that's what we go through in this last age. For this is the last age, man. Right? Those of us who in the know, we don't see this world making it to, another 100 years, but who knows, which through what we see now, we know that it's close, and it could happen next year, right? Shit can hit the fan next year. Jacob's troubles, the great tribulation can happen next year, which we don't see it, happening in another 20 or 10 years, man. 5 years, I believe, speaking as a man, because we don't know the day or hour, it can happen very soon, man. Sooner than we think, right? Especially through what's happening now, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places. Now you got pestilence being called, right, this whole pneumonia thing, right? I think they call it a white lung pneumonia. Right, it was an outbreak in China, happening recently, and it's a new thing, So, and through these prophecies, through these things that we're seeing now in the world, we know that these are signs or omens of the end of the world, man, of the end, and of the coming of Yahweh Shai. So we know that Yahweh Shai is coming soon, so, so we're in the end of the world, man, and I say that through faith. We are in the end of the world, man. This is the end of the world. Now, there's a process at the end of the day, but this is the end of the world, man. Right? Nation going against nation, kingdom against kingdom. It says, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of? So, y'all, are you able to go through these sufferings, if you will, that he went through, or, similar to what he went through? Are you able to go through insults? Are you able to suffer insults from your people? Are you able to suffer a reproach, a scoffing, mocking, from your people for teaching it and for standing for this faith, for these scriptures, man? Are you able to maintain, even through all this type of diverse temptations and sufferings, Are you able to drink of this cup? You want the paradise, you want to sit with me in paradise in the kingdom. Are you able to drink it of this cup? Are you able to go through these things, man? So that's basically what he's implying. It says, are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? And that's what it takes, man. To go through this, to take up this cup, to drink up, to go through this baptism, if you will. Now, what is that baptism referring to? It's not Yahweh Shai already went. Yahweh Shai already was baptized. He's basically speaking symbolically, if you will. And when you go into that word baptism, it basically means to be immersed into some, or submersion. Now, when you go into the usage of that Greek word, baptisma, in fact, let's play it real quick.
Strong's G 908. Baptisma.
Baptisma. Which means it's a metaphor of calamities and afflictions with which one is quite overwhelmed. Just like water, you get And water is sometimes symbolic for especially many waters, waves, that's symbolic for, danger, man. You get caught up in a storm in the water, that's danger, you know. What's good? Um so right, and a part of that baptism, part of that cup is what that you gotta drink of is what? Being persecuted. That's, again, I say this, I've been speaking on this a lot. There's going to be a major persecution in these last days, man. Esau, he will target some of you brothers, some of you believers that's in his truth. Why? Because we are going to be the only ones adverse to this man's new world order, to this man's digital currency, to this man's turn, if you will. We ain't gonna be for his turn, be for his way. We're not gonna worship the image of the beast, and that's why he's gonna come against a lot of you brothers, man. And I'm not gonna say a lot because I don't know the number. It could be a lot, it could be some. Right, and what I'm saying is prophesied in the book of Revelation chapter 20, where it speaks about some of the elect being beheaded or decapitated for the faith, for the word, for the testimony, for not receiving the mark, for not worshiping the image of the beast, So that's concerning these last days, man. I believe that time is nigh at hand. Seeing what's happening now, we may be, not may, I very well believe that we are going to be that generation that's going to see that time, man. And of course I'm careful in my words because I don't want to pinpoint or put a date on prophecy, I'm not trying to do that, but through faith, and through what we're seeing now, we are able to foretell that time of evil, that time of temptation, the great tribulation, is going to happen, may very well happen in this generation, man. In this age, ain't no 100 years, no. Yeah, so are you able to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? It says, they say unto him, what the two disciples said this, we are able. Now, when I read this in the past, the two disciples are James and John. Now, if I'm not mistaken, when you read about James, just to add on that, when you read about James, I think it's matter of fact, yeah, when you read about James, it's mentioned in the book of Acts chapter 12 verse 2 that King Herod killed James, right? Persecuted James. So let's read this. Right here it says Peter's arrest and deliverance, right? Acts chapter 12 verse 1. It says, now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church. So King Herod, he basically, persecuted the church, It says, and he killed James, the brother of John. That's one of the disciples, one of the two disciples that I was just reading about, And you remember, they agreed with Yahushua saying that we are able, right? We are able to drink this cup, and we are able to be baptized with that baptism that you was baptized with. They basically consented onto that. And when you come into this truth, man, when you call upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, when you believe, man, when you confess, amen, you're consenting onto this way, man. You're consenting, the sufferings that's going to have to come, You're consenting on all this, man. You think you're going to have salvation, not doing nothing or not going through anything. You're an idiot, just put it plain and simple, you know. Just ain't killed ain't killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unlimited bread. So, you know, so, hey, right here we just read about an account of one of the disciples, drinking that cup, you know, and who knows what else he went through before that, you know, before his death, before his persecution, you know. So from there I want to go, and I'm not gonna make this video long, you know. Let's just read this. I'm gonna close it all with this, you know. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 18. And I could really read this whole chapter, but I really just want to, because this plain and simple, you know. 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 18. It says, nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer. Right? So the righteous going to suffer as well. You know? It says, nevertheless, the righteous. And remember, the scripture speaks about being as gold or silver tried in the fire, man. What do that fire represents, man? Think about it. What do that fire represents? The Lord's going to have his sons be tried as fire, man. What that fire represents, it represents that tribulation, that hour temptation, you know, the difficult time. It says, nevertheless, the wretched shall suffer straight things, right? We already went into that word straight. It says, and hope for wide. Now that word wide is basically referring to the kingdom, paradise, salvation, you know, life in the kingdom. So we're going to go through what we're going to go through. We're going to have to go through this great tribulation, man, along with the world. But we ain't going to suffer how they suffer. And we ain't going to die how they die, right? We have assurance of life, if you will, in Yahushua. It says, for they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight thing. So the wicked, they're going to suffer and they're going to be put to death, man, having no hope for salvation, having no sacrifice, which is ultimately Yahushua. Yahushua is our sacrifice. Yahushua is our atonement, you know. So they ain't gonna have no covering in that day, in that time of evil, you know. Not white man Jesus, not Allah, not Jehovah, you know. Not all those religions. None of those things gonna cover you. The only thing that gonna cover you in these last days is Yahushua, you know. Right? It says, and his name not Jesus, man. His name is Yahushua in the ancient Hebrew, you know, which means he delivers, he saves, you know. But let's continue. It says, for they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. So the wicked, they gonna suffer, they gonna be put to death, and they ain't gonna see the wide, man. They ain't gonna get the kingdom. So at the end of the day, you know, yeah, that's, you know, the folks. I'm gonna close off on that. You know, Lord willing, this lesson's edifying. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles at Great Millstone, and to the elder bishops, and to the up-and-coming elders, and peace and blessings unto the elect. And salute shalom to the fellow laborers pushing his truth, and all praises and honor and glory to be to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rahah, Wadash.